All right, good morning, folks. We're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Gene Jones. I'm the executive director for a small nonprofit out of Tallahassee called the Southern Waste Information Exchange. In short, we're kind of a matchmaker. We put waste generators in touch with waste users to encourage recycling and reuse of waste materials, as well as put on a number of different events in the environmental industry, this being one of them. This is the 39th Southeast Recycling Conference. We do the PFAS Forum, a remediation conference, a waste conversion technology conference, and then an agricultural plastic recycling conference. If you allow me, I'm going to make a couple of opening admin comments. First, everybody please put their cell phones on vibrate. Restrooms, if you need to use the restrooms, they're out this door past our registration desk, kind of walking out towards the side of double glass doors. Men's on the left, women's on the right. If you run into any problems during the course of the conference, please let myself or anybody, our staff at the registration desk, know if you have some issues. All the presentations that you're going to see will be shot to PDF. The majority of them, I do have one or two speakers that had requested they would like to release them on their own. So, but we'll provide information on how to get the presentations that you will see. All of the sessions are being recorded. We're live streaming on Zoom. Welcome virtual attendees. Opt-out list. We provide the contact list to everybody's going to get the list of names and affiliations, but if you don't want your contact information released, because we do provide that to the VIP registrants, the sponsors, and the exhibitors. So if you don't want your contact information released, please let me know. I've asked all the moderators not to read bios today, only because I've sent out a moderator speaker compendium that has not only the bios, but the abstracts for all the presentations. Social media pages. I encourage you to join our LinkedIn and Facebook page for networking opportunities. And then in addition to networking on social media, all the breaks and receptions are going to be in the exhibit hall. Lunch today is you're going to enter in through the exhibit hall, back door to the right will go into Coastal Ballroom, and that's where lunch will be. Golf tournament tomorrow, we are sold out, but we do have a wait list going, so if anybody still has an interest in it, it's going to be a good day tomorrow, so I'm very happy about that. Lastly, my scam notice. I do this at every conference. I'm sure you all have gotten emails in the past wanting to offer to sell you the list of attendees for not just SERC, but any conference that you go to. It happens across the board. These are scammers from overseas. They actually use our logo and say that they're conference staff, but they're not. And I've tried to stop it year in and year out. Finally, I said enough. Let's just, they're marketing for me, so I'll let them continue to market. The same thing with hotel. If you ever get a call from somebody from a conference trying to get you to make sure that you've got your hotel reservation, do not book through them, because a conference manager is not going to call you. They're going to direct you through their web shop to get you to make your reservations. Lastly, conferences would not be possible if it weren't for our sponsors. So thank you, Pratt Industries, WM, our diamond sponsors, platinum sponsors, Accent, G. Baylor, Recycling Today Media Group, our gold sponsors, 4G Recycling and Harris American. Last night's sponsor was Sunoco Recycling for the reception. Tonight it's going to be McPreezy Europa in MP North America. Our lunch sponsor today is Georgia Baylor, and then our silver sponsors. Got a host of silver sponsors in essence of time. I'm not going to read all of them, but thank you, sponsors. Supporting 8 organizations that help us promote the event. Conference organizers, EICM and the Southern Waste Information Exchange. And then lastly, I got to get to this because every year we do a fundraiser for a charity. This year we're raising money for Ronald McDonald House. Part of that will be through a 50-50 raffle that we'll do in the exhibit hall, drawing tonight at 6:30. The way this is going to work is the winner gets their choice. They can either choose a 15-year-old bottle of Pappy. Well, I've already had people come up to me and try to buy this from me this morning. Or they can take half the cash, right? Half the cash or the bottle of Pappy. If they take the cash, I'm going to auction the bottle of Pappy off. If somebody takes the Pappy, we're done there. Charity's going to get the cash. And then lastly, we do the benefits. We should have 10, 15 gift cards. We'll probably break that up into 2 different drawings in addition to that. So hopefully we'll have some people win some good prizes this evening. Lastly, a little bit of self-promotion for our next event. It's PFAS Forum, May 13th through the 15th. And then lastly, we're going to be back here again for the 40th Southeast Recycling Conference next year. Moving it around a little bit, I wanted to stay away from Valentine's Day because I think Valentine's Day starts on a Sunday next year. So we're going to move it kind of start on a Tuesday, run through Friday, and we're probably going to bring back casino night. I know some of you have been coming here year in and year out, and we did casino night one year, and it was a lot of fun. So we're going to do that again next year. And with that, I am going to turn it over to Charmayne Watson, who's an account manager with Greif Recycling, and Charmayne is going to introduce our keynote speaker today. So, ma'am, it is all yours. And I'm taking this back with me.
Hey, I was going to drink that. Used to it being a packed house in here. Go ahead and text your colleagues and say, come on in, because Myles is getting ready to bring the house down. Yeah. So for a few things, of course you already have the agenda, so you can read about Myles on your own and all his professional accolades. But, Myles pretty much is described as a cool guy. One of my colleagues said, he's a cool guy, Charmayne, he's a cool guy. So he's a cool guy, and I've also heard someone say that you are a great guy for giving them an opportunity. I want to say I remember meeting you in 2014 in Montgomery, Alabama at the first Dirty Murph that they were bringing into Alabama. And everybody was excited that Myles was coming to Montgomery, and when he got there, it was like he was the president. The president of the United States, but he was the president of Pratt at the time. So I had an opportunity to meet him there, and it's an awesome time to see him every time I am in his presence. He's been in the industry for 2 decades, and he has a lot of information that he's going to share with us today. So here's the floor to you, Mr. Myles.
Thank you, Charmayne. As I promised, if you did a good job, I'd just give you my American Express card. Go shopping. Yeah. Listen, thank you very much, Charmayne. Would you mind calling my wife and giving her the same speech that you just gave to these people? Let them know that I'm a cool guy or whatever. I don't know. Well, good morning, everybody. Okay. Nobody walked me through the remote control. So you guys over there, this is forward, this is backwards. Is that it? Okay. Does it have fresh batteries? Sure. Okay. Okay. Well, hey, Charmayne did a great job, so I don't have to talk a little bit about who I am today. I retired from Pratt. It'll be 5 years next month, more or less. I plan to go off into the sunset, and a lot of friends and people who I've known in the industry didn't let that happen. Can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? And I'm there, no, I'm retired. And next thing you know, I'm doing all kinds of stuff. So I have my own company, Circular Ventures. I consult on sustainable packaging and recycling is what I primarily do. And I work with some paper mills and stuff like that. And I'm on the board, the one client that is public that I can mention, not a public company, a private company, is VIPA. And VIPA is based in Switzerland. I'll tell you a little bit about them right now. I'm going to tell you right now that you're going to hear this 20 times, me say this, is that anybody who tells you what the recycling rate is on anything is lying, including me, okay? Because it's scrap. Nobody really knows. Everything's an estimate, okay? There's no really scientific way to do any of this stuff. So that's kind of my big disclosure and disclaimer at the beginning is these numbers are, we feel we have the best numbers that anybody has, and you're going to see some high-level data today, and you're going to see some stuff that has never been seen before. But I will tell you right now, they're all estimates, okay? I've got 2 slides on VIPA. VIPA is the world's largest independent exporter of waste paper in the world as an independent. We're family held. We do 4 million tons a year, 3,000 containers a week. And we are based in Lausanne, Switzerland. We have a huge logistics office in Greece, and we have 3 offices in the U.S., and we have offices in France, and people in India, people all over. All of these people that you see right here are paid attendees of this conference. And would you all stand up, the ones that are in the room? They're not the VIPA folks? So there we go. We only got 4 of them. The rest of them said, we don't need to go listen to Myles, okay? I actually told them that. I said, you're not going to learn anything from me. But Stelios is the leader. He runs worldwide sales and marketing for materials. And Riley, in the bottom right, he's handles metals, non-ferrous. We do plastic, we do paper, et cetera. And the people who are in this room are Anthony, Ivan, is Liam here? Liam just walked in. Stelios is back there. Stelios is standing up. He's back there. So come see any of us anytime while we're here. I think we have 10 of us registered, okay? I was in Switzerland 2 weeks ago. VIPA manages all of the curbside recycling drop-off centers in the French part of Switzerland. This is in Sierre. It's near Crowns, Montana. Who's heard of Crowns, Montana? Nobody. Not even the VIPA guys? Crowns, Montana is where that terrible, terrible fire was about 2 months ago that killed 44 people in a nightclub. Mark Ehrlich, the owner of our company, lives across the street from that nightclub. So he drove me past the drop-off center for recycling, and it is, yes, it's above the clouds. That's not snow down there. Those are clouds. The recycling center is up in the mountains. It's pretty cool. Okay. I said, there's going to be some fighting today. There's going to be some disagreement, and that's good. We need to have some discord in this industry about all of the struggles and all of the challenges we have and stuff going on. So although this is not a debate and this is not interactive, I'd prefer it to be interactive. I'm gonna drop some bombs today, maybe. If I have the chutzpah to do that, and many of you don't know what chutzpah is, I think some of you do. A little old news, lots of new stuff. Why the weakness on container boards, a whole bunch of statistics that I'm gonna bore you to death with. Bar charts, tables, numbers, all the other stuff, but I'm doing it to make a point. And then I have at the end here, have we gone mad? Are we tripping over dollars to pick up pennies? It's a quote I've heard years and years and years ago, and I think this industry is doing that, and I think we're making some mistakes, and we need to correct the course. So my yogiism is when you come to a fork in the road, take it. And about 50 years ago, we took this fork in the road that the panacea of recycling is curbside recycling, residential recycling, and that ain't where the volume is, folks. I think most of you know that. But that's where all the money's going in this industry, and you'll see that today. I'm going to show you that today. And then some conclusions. Okay, listen, many of you know, most of you know, maybe I had a bit of a disagreement with the major paper industry trade association 3 years ago about their 96% recycling rate for cardboard, which I don't think, how many people believe the recycling rate for cardboard is 96% in the US? Okay, so Bloomberg contacted me. We just did a simple presentation at the Resource Recycling Conference, and honestly, the crap hit the fan. We didn't expect that. We weren't looking to do anything. But in any case, there's a lot that has gone on since. So these are real quick, because I'm not going to legislate this all over again. There's no need to do that. The historical recycling rates were in the 90%. There were 1 or 2 years that they were in the 80s. And then Ryan Fox, how many people have heard of Ryan Fox? Okay. If you don't follow Ryan Fox on Bloomberg and on LinkedIn, you should follow Ryan Fox. He is the #1 guy in my mind for an analyst on containerboard. 50 hours a week, that's all he studies, containerboard. He goes to mills, he goes to box plants, he speaks to 20 or 30 phone conversations a week. And so this was their recycling rates up until 2022 when we challenged them, and then in 2023, 2024, they lowered them. These are the numbers that, the numbers in the little beige bar are the numbers that Ryan and I came up with and said, no, it's really 62% and 63%, and then the AF&PA did that. And now everybody's in the act. Everybody wants to have their own OCC recycling rate. So that's why I said nobody knows what it really is. So the U.S. Department of Energy came out with 60%, the EPA 53.5%, Recycling Partnership 32%, and these are, so many opinions. Does anybody really know? No, nobody knows. Nobody really knows. But coming soon, I'm going to release the 2025 OCC recycling rate on OCC and total paper recycling rates. And you're hearing it here first. If there's any reporters in the room, you're welcome to print this. I don't care. It's going to be somewhere between 57.5% and 60% for OCC is the recycling rate, which is pretty damn good considering plastic is 9%. Okay, it's something to be proud of. And total paper is going to be somewhere between 42 and 45%. That's what my numbers look like they're going to be for 2025. Okay, so why is containerboard down? I'm going over here to grab a white water. Why is everybody, I presume everybody in the room knows that containerboard is the paper that's used to make a corrugated box, okay? And we've seen some challenging times in this industry. We've seen mill closures, et cetera. I'm going to talk very little about that because it's old news. You all know about the challenges about mills closing and stuff like that. So it's really, there's two changes, there's two things, two drivers for containerboard. Listen, OCC cardboard is the #1 packaging item in the world and in the US generated, and the #1 packaging item recycled, and the #1 packaging item disposed. The industry never talks about the #1 thing is disposed is the same thing that's the #1 thing that's recycled, but it's the #1 thing that's disposed. Over 21 million tons of OCC is disposed a year, incinerated, or goes into the landfill, and it could be as much as 28 million tons. You're going to see those numbers a little later, okay? So there are these economic changes and structural changes. Economic changes are low consumer confidence, inflation, tariffs, affordability issues. I'm just going to cover one of these quickly, okay? Affordability issues. You're going to see numbers about OCC in major grocery stores in a few minutes, okay? Food spending last year is down 5% in the U.S., and this is stuff that normally grows, right? Down 5%. Goodwill hit $7 billion in revenue, a record for them. They're planning to open up 100 new stores this year. Private label sales are setting records. People are moving away from brands that are more expensive, and they're doing private labels and discount food retailers like Aldi and Lidl. You're going to see some data that I'm going to show you. They're growing exponentially. It's unbelievable. Aldi now has there's a organization that measures foot traffic in stores. Aldi now has almost 100 million visitors in all of their stores a month. Not a year, a month in the U.S., okay? Now, structural changes. So the economic changes, the bottom, will eventually rebound. These are things that will turn around, okay? Because the economy goes up and down and stuff like that. There's cycles, okay? These are things that the tons are permanently vanished. They're gone forever. And guess what? If there's less containerboard, there's less OCC, right? You don't manufacture OCC. A mill doesn't call you and say, we need 500 tons of OCC, and you say, oh, let's order 500 tons of new boxes and pay $1,500 a ton and sell the OCC for 50 bucks. No, you can't manufacture OCC. It is what it is, right? The question is, does it get recycled? Hi, Megan. Does it get recycled? Or, does it get disposed? Or does it go to landfill? That's the question. So I'm going to cover some of these. First of all, over the last 10 years, the corrugated box industry used to, for many years, over a 20-year time frame, grow 1.5%, 2% a year. Always. You can count on that. If it had a bad year, okay, down 1.5%, 2%. You had some bad pockets like the global financial crisis, the GFC, 2008, 2009, where we saw some big dips. But for the most part, we see increases in corrugated box, but that's not happened in the last 10 years. The last 10 years, because of lightweighting, and lightweighting is making the box thinner and right sizing, making the box smaller and all the other stuff, the metric that's used in the industry is billion of square feet of boxes. Take a box, open it up where the seam is, where the glue, lay it out, measure how many square feet is it. We sell 40 billion boxes a year in the US. That's how it's measured. So the billions of square feet are down 6.6% over a 10-year period. But the population has grown. So just the number of square feet of boxes is down 12.7%. This doesn't include lightweighting. This is just the size of the box. That's it. Okay? So huge decrease for this industry. That's why we've seen, last year, you hear about the mills that have closed in the U.S., IP, West Rock, Pixel in Ohio, et cetera, et cetera. Globally last year, 17 mills shut down globally last year. 17. So this isn't a U.S. problem. This is a European problem, it's an Asian problem, it's a problem everywhere, okay? This is more lightweighting about the SERC seal on boxes. I know you can't see that back there, how boxes used to go from a 42 ECT, then to a 26 ET, then to a 26 ECT. And you've seen this if you buy from Amazon. When you open up the box, the inside flap, if you've ever seen this box is made with less material. Same size box, less paper in it, thinner paper, right? So so think about this. You make 40 billion boxes a year, and over time, you take 2 to 3 ounces out of each box. That's like 1 million tons. Just lightweighting. It's crazy. Right sizing. I don't know how many of you have seen this, but I'd say 1 or 2 out of every 10 Amazon packages that we get at home come in a custom-made box. It says, have any of you seen this? And so there's this company, Pack Size. Who's heard of that? Okay, nobody's heard of that, Pack Size? Okay, you've heard of Pack Size?
Isn't Walmart doing this too?
Yeah. Yep, they are. Megan Workman, you've read her stuff on RISI. She's right here in the front row. So I got to be careful what I say. She's a reporter, okay? So be careful what you ask at the end. There's a company, Ranpak. They have this technology, Evo Cut It. It's automated material that makes the box smaller, so it customizes the size of the box based on the stuff that's in there. Okay. Okay. First quiz. I got a couple of quizzes here. What % of Amazon shipments come from third-party partners? Over 50. Any other numbers? 80? Okay. I think you win the prize for over 50. It's 61%, so come on up here. I do have prizes today, but I don't want to take time with prizes. I have bottle openers with the SERC logo on them right here. Do you drink beer? Yes. Okay. But the back of these, for you SERC people out there streaming, You get your choice. The back of these have a picture on it. It's either Jean's picture, Dana's picture, or Nikki Mayfield's picture. Whose picture do you want? Give me Jean. Jean, okay. Jean? Jean, don't worry, I have one for you later too. Okay, that's the only one I'm giving out with Jean's picture on it, okay? Envelopes, you know, and you know, so much has gone on with right sizing and whatever, so, you know, envelopes is the thing. This is what, I already covered this chart, this is what I told you about Aldi. Aldi plans to have more than 3,000 locations in the U.S. by the end of 2028. There's only one chain that will have more stores in the U.S., not counting McDonald's or Starbucks or anything like that, only one grocery chain that will have more stores in the U.S. than Aldi. And who's that? Huh? No, not Kroger. Walmart. Who said Walmart first? Everybody's raising their hand. Somebody back there. Oh, it's DJ? Okay, come on up. DJ, we have, what I'm wearing today, we have dumpster fire socks. You can have a pair of green ones, black ones, or gray ones.
Black ones.
Black ones, okay.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I wore those yesterday, but I put them back in the thing. Okay. DJ, be careful because there was a special on Amazon, 20 pairs for $1, so they'll probably fall apart when you wash them. But this is what I told you before about the foot traffic in stores. Aldi is up to almost 90 million in the U.S., almost 90 million people a month walk into an Aldi store. And 6 years ago, it was 20 million, fivefold. People are going for value. And that's affecting corrugated box, that's affecting containerboard a lot, and you're going to see why in a minute. Okay? Shelf-ready packaging. This is Aldi, Lidl, BJ's, Costco, etc. What you have, how many people shop in a warehouse club? Any Costco? Everybody in this room. Okay. What you have is, and I'm not a corrugated box guy, but I know a lot about corrugated boxes, or I make it up, one or the other. Okay. Shelf-ready packaging, the corrugated box many times just has, that comes in on the pallet, just has a tray. No sides, or very short sides. And instead of having 12 boxes of cereal in a RSC, a regular corrugated box with 6 sides, it's, you know, 24 boxes on a tray and a whole pallet full of them, and anywhere between 30 and my corrugated box people who manufacture this stuff tells me that per square foot or cubic foot of merchandise that's in a consumer products package, anywhere between 30 and 60% less corrugated in shelf-ready packaging. And then there's just shrink wrap all around the thing, okay? And you see that right here in the I think it's a Costco store where you can almost see the product through the shrink wrap. So, you know, this is in Lidl, this is Aldi, this is everywhere, and this is where now all of a sudden there's 100 million people walking through, you know, a month in a store, in one chain in Aldi. It's all these things combined, they are not going to bounce back. This is permanent. The guy I consult with on this said to me, you know, he was senior vice president of a corrugated box company. He said, you know, since this light weighting and right sizing thing has happened, we have not had one major customer come to us and say, we want a heavier box. We want to pay you more money for boxes. We've not had one customer say that to us yet, and it ain't going to happen, folks. Okay, so anyhow, whoa. Oh, I see what I got to do. I got to go this way. Okay, so in any case, the economic changes will eventually rebound. The structural changes are, that's it. That's the past. So overall, the record number of closures in North America, not only paper mills, but box plants as well. Most container board producers had a really, really tough 2025. We've seen about a 10% decline. E-commerce is not the panacea that everybody thought it was going to be for boxes. It's just not. It's whatever it is, 15% of GDP and only 6% of boxes, and people say it's declining as the percent of boxes that are going into e-commerce. So people are buying at Walmart and Target, et cetera, where you pull into the parking lot and you pick it up an hour later, and the merchandise is coming out in a plastic bag, and it's not in a box. And that's the e-commerce that's growing quite a bit. That stuff. People don't want to wait till tomorrow. They want it today. So that's that. I thought it's not funny, it's sad. But, you know, when a new paper mill opens, everybody who's been working on that paper mill for 2.5 or 3 years, they all get together when the first roll of paper comes off, and they all have their Sharpies, and they all sign first roll of paper, all the other stuff. Charmayne's shaking her head. Okay, you've maybe done that. Okay, and when the Savannah mill closed last year, the employees put the last, kind of sad. Okay, so a lot of data on OCC because it's the biggest. Thank you. Charmayne has the role of keeping me on time, and I ain't going to be on time. But anyhow, we'll get there. I'm focusing on big box stores and supermarkets is what I'm talking about today mostly. I have data that I've been accumulating for 4 consecutive years from the major national retailers, all of them, not all specialty chains as well, smaller specialty chains like sporting goods and do-it-yourself home centers and all the other stuff. I'm not going to talk about that today. Analyze tons per store based on dollar revenue and square footage, and it enables us to develop a model and a formula that we can predict almost any retail chain how much OCC they're going to have a year or per store or whatever. So we have 21 to 24 data on the chains that represent 83% of the supermarket spending in the U.S. We have total tons per chain, average tons of OCC per store, average tons per $1 million of revenue, average tons per 1,000 square feet. We take all that stuff together, we put it into a blender, okay? We blend it up, and then we make up numbers at the end. No, we put it in there, and we spit out some pretty good numbers. So what do we have? We've accumulated an estimated tonnage for 24,000 stores per year. So we have 97,000 stores. $1.3 trillion of annual revenue, and 2 billion square feet of retail space. So I believe that we have more KPIs to predict what's happening with OCC, the largest packaging item generated and recycled and landfilled, than anybody else does. So these are just the 8 top chains. Gene said some of the presentations are not going to be available. This is the one that's not, this presentation is not going to be available, but it could be available. But there's some things we have to go through to get this. The number 1 chain in the country generates 3,050,000 tons of OCC a year. Number 2, 781,000 tons a year. Chain C, I know who all these are. Chain C, 579,000 tons a year. Chain D, 502,000 tons a year, et cetera. These 8 chains represent 20%, not 20% of the tons that come from grocery stores, 20% of all the tons collected in the country. So I'm going to show you one example. Chain B. 2021, you're wondering why OCC is going down and why generation is down, why generation is light. 2021, 888,000 tons. 2022, 791,000 tons. 2023, 750,000 tons. 2024, 781,000 tons. That's thousands of tons. That's billions of pounds. So you say, maybe they closed a bunch of stores. That's why. Okay, let's look at their tons per store, because we got the number of stores of every chain and their locations. 326 tons per store in 2021, down to 286 tons per store in 2024. Let's look at their tons per $1 million of revenue. Doesn't matter how many stores they have. Down again. Let's look at the tons per square foot of stores per 1,000 square feet went from 4.93 to 4.33. It doesn't sound like a lot, okay? Multiply this times 2 billion square feet. Multiply 0.6 of a ton times 2 billion square feet, and that's how much you're talking millions of tons of reduction that has been generated in these retail stores. Now, when we get this data from retail stores, sometimes they also provide plastic tons. And I'm there, well, a lot of people in here do plastic. How many people do plastic? Okay, that'd be interesting to know. So we got plastic tons of the top maybe 15 chains we have. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We got 10 chains that we have plastic tons for, and generally speaking, it averages between 2% and 6% of the OCC. So it enables you to know if you're buying 1,000 tons of OCC from a chain, hey, how much plastic might they have or should they be having, kind of thing. Or if you're buying plastic, you say, well, I multiply that times 25 times, and that's how much OCC they should have, okay? Now, we also have data by state. So I'm not identifying the state. I have a client who wants to do something in one particular state. It's maybe a new mill, maybe it's new MRFs, maybe it's new something, and they've asked us to look at 7 states for them, and we've done that. So I provided some data here. So not only do we have that Sam's Club in this state has 15 stores and Walmart has 19 neighborhood markets and 114 supercenters, but we also have the addresses and the tonnages for all of those stores, by store. The tons of OCC and the tons of plastic by store for all these Walmarts. But we also got it for, in the same state, Best Buy, another grocery chain, Target, Marshalls, TJ Maxx, Walmart, et cetera. And so, you know, that's the kind of data we have. So when I presented this 3.5 years ago in Austin, Texas at the Resource Recycling Conference, these chains, these big chains, totaled about 10 million tons. And I had only done it for that year, 2021. We're down to about 9.2 million tons. It's still a lot of tons, folks. It's a third of the tons that we collect in this country of OCC come from the big major big box stores, et cetera, okay? And then we got all this other big mess on this chart with all these other chains. We've done a lot of deep dive on specialty as well, whether it's hardware home centers, clothing stores, you know, your home goods, TJ Maxx, Marshalls, et cetera. We have 4 years of data on all of this stuff. Close to 1 million store locations, like 700, 800,000 store locations. QSRs, quick serve restaurants, there's like 205,000 of them in the US, something like that. I have the number, but not at the top of my head, don't quote me on that. And we have all of that. If you add it all up, you're at about 27 million tons from ICI out of 42 million tons generated. So there's around a 64% recycling rate of cardboard from industrial, commercial, industrial, commercial, and institutional is what we have. These are some of the major waste haulers in the U.S. These bar charts, because there's been a lot of consolidation and acquisitions, the only way to really do this and get a common denominator metric is to take the number of tons they do of, this is total paper, and divide it by the billions of dollars of revenue that they do as a company, or millions of dollars of revenue. So don't look at the bars, look at that line. You see that line with the black diamonds? This is just a few waste haulers. This is more than 1 and less than 5. I'm not going to tell you the number. But the 2 big guys are in here. And these few waste haulers do 13.5 million tons of total paper a year. Now you got to be careful because there's double counting, because some of these large waste haulers have brokerage divisions, and that's in their number, and they handle grocery chains that are in that 9.2 million tons. So there's double counting. There's some double counting in here. Right, Charmayne? Okay, thank you. Okay, residential, only 8%. Bill Moore always does an excellent job. He did a REMA. Is he in the room? Bill Moore in the room? He did a REMA presentation a few weeks ago, and he says that of all OCC generated, he says 11% comes from residential. I say 8%. He's been doing this analysis stuff a lot longer than I have. He's probably right. I'm probably wrong. I don't know. Megan probably knows better than both of us. She'd split the number in the middle between 8 and 11, which would be 9.5, I think. But in any case, residential is not the panacea to go. If you look at this, in the box on the lower right-hand side, TRP, who knows what TRP stands for? Come on. Nobody knows what TRP stands for? Who said that? You want socks or bookmark? A bookmark, a bottle opener. Socks. What's your name? Sarah. Who do you work for? All right. So I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to talk about you in a minute. You want green or gray? Okay, dumpster fire stop. Congratulations. Okay, TRP, the Recycling Partnership, big nonprofit. And they say that we recycle in residential. I don't know how they know this number so damn close. It's like, whoa. They say all residential in the U.S., all households, single family and multifamily, rural and urban and everything, recycle 2,371,502 tons. I think it's 502.3, but I'm not sure. Okay, that equals 11 ounces per household per week. That's what we recycle in households. Think about this. Who in this room knows hauling pickup? You know pickup for curbside recycling? Okay, what does a side loader truck cost new? And then what are the operating costs per year for that? The driver, what are the operating costs for the driver and all that stuff? Okay. Okay, is there somebody else who would like to make up a number? Just make it up. How much? 60,000 a year operating costs for the driver and the... $200,000 a year. I think that's a good number. So you got a $350,000 truck, you got $200,000 in operating costs a year, that maybe includes depreciation, right? Okay, so you got all that, and what are we doing? We're driving around and we're picking up 11 ounces of cardboard a week. 11 ounces of cardboard a week. Unbelievable. And you're getting mixed paper, and you're getting glass, and you're getting... Oh, let's not forget about the most valuable thing in the curbside stream, contamination. Okay, we're going to talk about that. Okay, so it's hard to get this number. It's hard to get OCC for a particular city. This is a big, huge county on the East Coast. I'm going to guess, I should know this, I should have studied it before I came. I'm going to say it's one of the top 100 counties in the country. I'm going to say it's one of the top 20 or 25 counties in population in the East Coast. Okay, I got their numbers. I got their numbers for 5 years of the OCC that they generate from residential for the entire county. Okay, 17,300 tons in 2020, 18,000 tons, about the same in 2024. Okay, that's how many at the top. That's how many pounds per household per year. About 50 pounds per household per year, 55 to 60, or what, a pound a week. 1.1 pound a week in 2020, 1.17 pounds a week in 2021, 1.09, it's like, really? That's it. Okay? Now, so here's some landfill and combustion data. Okay. So, the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, U.S. Department of Energy, estimates there's 21.4 million tons of OCC landfilled a year in this country. It's huge. I believe they're low. I think it's 25 to 26 million tons. I believe it's low, but who am I? Okay? TRP, Sarah, was her name Sarah? The Recycling Partnership has the state 2024 State of Recycling report. It's about a 60-page report. Page 24 says all residential recycles, landfills, 5.1 million tons a year. Okay? That's probably a pretty good number. I like the Recycling Partnership's numbers. I don't agree with a lot of the stuff they do, but I like their numbers. Okay? You can print that. Okay? We've had our differences. That's fine. Not you and I, me and the Recycling Partnership. Yeah, we're good. Okay. So if those two numbers are true, the 21.4 million and the 5.1 million, that means 16 million tons of cardboard must be disposed of by businesses. And that's about right. So it's huge. So we're going after all the stuff. Now, I have dug deep into these waste characterization studies. So these have all been released over the last couple of years. Washington, California, Virginia, National Renewable Energy Labs, New York, Maryland. Have you seen that report? Maryland, Florida, and Texas. This is how many pounds each of those say are disposed per person, per capita in their states per year. Washington is the lowest. I happen to think I haven't seen anything near that number. I think it's wrong, but fine, okay, let's believe it, let's put it in. Even if that number's right, we landfill 14.5 million tons of OCC in the country per year if you project the population per capita out to the 342 million people we have, okay? Let's talk about Maryland because we have Sarah. Sarah, right? Sarah, we have Sarah here. They say they landfill 155 pounds per person of OCC per year. They just did this report last year. It's quite frankly one of the, I'm not saying this because of her, I don't know her. I think it's one of the best waste characterization studies that I've seen because not only does it say how many tons have been recycled and landfilled, they also have how many have been generated. And when they go into the landfill, they show single-family homes versus multifamily homes, and they show residential versus commercial. A lot of waste characterizations don't do that, okay? You project all of this out, you take the average, and you're around 25, 26 million tons of OCC that's landfilled in this country a year. It's crazy. It's crazy, okay? So, hey, I didn't know Sarah was going to be here. I swear to Sarah, have we met before? Okay, I didn't know you were going to be here. This is Maryland because it's so good. You can go to this report. It's online. It's public. They disposed, landfilled or combusted 486,000 tons of OCC in their 2024 report. And guess what? 155,000 of those came from residential households. 331,000 came from commercial. They say there's 77,963, the bottom left text box, of commercial locations in this state. That means there's 708 pounds per month of OCC being disposed of at quick-serve restaurants, convenience stores, you know, office buildings, hospitals, whatever. And they say they have 2.3 million households, so they're only landfilling 11 pounds per month for households. So it's just a question for you. What makes more sense? Driving these big $350,000 trucks around, picking up, if we got 100% of this stuff, picking up 2.5 pounds per week, or picking up 200 pounds a week. I don't know. I'll let you think about it. Get your calculators out, go to your room, do it tonight. Okay? Okay. Residential, I'm going to talk more about residential. The volume of residential, this is cardboard, mixed paper, glass, metal, plastic. This is all of this combined. Typical, this is These are third-party numbers, not my numbers. These are numbers from Bill Moore in 2016, the Consumer Brands Association in 2019. These are all online reports you can find. The Recycling Partnership in 2020, 22, and 24. And we are out of everything that we recycle in this country, 151 million tons a year, according to the Recycled Materials Association, REMA. Only 10 million tons come from residential households, 7%. 7% of all the stuff that we recycle in this country comes from residential households. So what are the problems? Cost prohibitive. What if on a per ton basis, usually recycling collection is priced per household per month. $5 per household per month, $6 per household per month, et cetera. If you translate that to per ton, what do you think that costs per ton to pick up curbside recycling for the collection vehicle, the driver, and all that stuff? Not processing, just picking it up. Anybody? Who said that? You saw the presentation ahead of time, didn't you? What's your name?
Summer.
Okay, well, it's winter now. Okay, so you're gonna get one of these. So you can have Dana, bottle opener, or Nikki Mayfield.
Give me the Nikki.
Nikki, okay, Nikki.
Bing.
Okay, Nikki. We didn't hear a laugh out there. Okay, so here we go, and I got to finish up here, and I got a lot more to do. Here we go. So this is a big, huge city in the U.S., top 15 city. I have all their data by month of their recycling back to 2014 for every single month. This is total. This isn't just OCC. This is total household residential data. In 2014, they launched their program. Everybody got new carts in 2014. Anybody know who this is? Okay. They were recycling 335 pounds per household per year, which is 6.4 pounds a week. Now in 2025, I have 11 months of data. I don't have December, okay? But I estimated December. I had to estimate 1 month. So I took January through November, divided by 11 times 12, and that's what I did. And they are doing only 4.7 pounds per household per week of curbside recyclables. And there's been one report at least that up to 28% of this is contamination. So it's really only 3.8 pounds a week, okay? Their cost, Summer, you cheated, you saw this before. Their cost is $520 a ton. But that's not all. Here's another city, major US city, okay? Their cost, published data, public information, you can download this report. I'm not going to tell you who it is because the recycler for this, there's 2 recyclers in this city. They're both at this conference. They may be in this room. I'm not going to embarrass anybody, not to disparage anybody. It's not their fault, okay? Their cost is 742 tons, $742. Collection cost. Collection cost. How much is processing for single stream? Like $3 a ton, something like that? What do you think? How much? $4.50 a ton? $100 a ton, right? $95 a ton. So that's on top of this. Contamination. We used to say, when in doubt, throw it out. Who's heard that term? Okay. I'm not sure. I think WM came up with it, but I'm not sure. Okay. This, it would make sense when you think about it, okay? Yeah, because they make all their money on the landfill. Okay. No, they're good, they're good folks. Okay. This article in this major city in the U.S., major big city, one of the top 5 cities in the U.S., this article came out last year, and it said, this is people from the solid waste department in a magazine interview, said, but if you're not sure, it's better to err on the side of throwing something in the recycling bin. Don't let perfect be the enemy of good. Recycler A, I redacted their name, they're here, and Recycler B, they're here also, both have more than one person, have the expertise and technology to handle it. Isn't that nice? Throw it all in the recycling bin, right? Throw your diapers in the recycling bin. They'll handle it for you, okay? It's just, I can show you the report. If you don't believe me, I'll show it to you.
I was just thinking, in New York City, I will see people put their pots in cans. I mean, every day I see wrong. They think they're doing right, but it's totally wrong.
Yeah. Okay, another county, large county, not the same as the other one I showed with the OCC. Large county, their recyclers also here today. They did a survey of their residents. In the top line, what type of materials do you typically place in the recycle roll cart? They didn't ask where that you typically take to store drop-off or anything like that. Which items do you put? Okay, 92%. And now, all of these items in the red are prohibited. They're not on the list. Okay, 92% of residents said they put plastic bags in. 67% said they put glass in, and this county doesn't take glass. 64% bubble wrap, tissues, napkins, is styrofoam. So why do you think you have 38% contamination? This is their contamination, okay? How many of you know Jeff Snyder from Umke? A few of you, okay? He spoke at a conference in Chicago last year, and he said recyclability involves the MRF being able to sort the material that can turn into a product into something new. And if we can't answer yes to both, I don't care about the chasing arrows, I don't care about the numbers, I don't care about anything else. If it can't be sorted and it can't be sold to make a new product, it's not acceptable to the MRF. Who agrees with that? Most of you, okay. Consumer confusion. This is my chart that I developed. The Wild West of recycling labels. I actually called it the idiotic periodic table of recycling labels, okay? This is everybody, the recycling label has been hijacked. Everybody's putting the recycling label on everything. The consumer's so damn confused, and it's never getting any better. Never. Never. I'm throwing in a towel. Okay, I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Tripping over dollars to pick up pennies. All these people and all these organizations and all these companies make their products want their stuff recycled. And my favorite one, is DJ still in the room? Okay. My favorite one is in the bottom right. That little bread clip that used to be plastic for your plastic bag. DJ, you should leave right now and call your operations folks. Tell them to start manufacturing balers, okay? Because there's going to be so much volume from these damn bread clips that, you know, it's gonna go through the roof. Okay, so you got the Kit Kat labels, you got the Kind bars. Everybody's going. You got the Keurig coffee pods. How many people here have MRFs? Single stream MRFs? Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do you take toothpaste tubes? Do you want to take toothpaste tubes? I have an empty one in my room that I just finished last night. Can I give it to you? You put it in your HDPE. Okay. It's like, really, it's gotten crazy, okay? Now, there's a new disease. I don't know if you've heard about it. Coalitionitis, okay? There's a special coalition for every type of packaging. Polypropylene, polystyrene, everything. Everybody's lobbying to get their stuff in the bin. And you know what? I kind of have an apology to make because a lot of these companies have come to me and said, hey, can you help me? And I say, no, I'm a purist. I'm not going to suggest putting your stuff, I didn't use the word stuff, in the bin, okay? And I probably made a big mistake, okay? Because you know what? The stuff is getting in there anyhow, so I probably should have just taken the business. Last 2 slides, believe it or not. Tripping over dollars to pick up pennies. We have 21 million tons of OCC. At a value of 1.8 billion, 75% of which is coming from only 4 million locations in the U.S. businesses. And we have 61 billion. This is from the Aluminum Association. We got 61 billion UBCs disposed, 1.4 billion in value. And what are we chasing after? Flexible film, poly-coated everything, toothpaste tubes, coffee pods, etc. We've gone mad. That's my, there's probably nobody in the room as old as I am who watched that that movie Network with, what was that guy's name? Peter Finch. I'm mad as hell. Was that the guy who said it? I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. I'm mad as hell, I'm not going to take it anymore, okay? So, listen, we need to, as an industry, say stop. So this is my last slide. Huge opportunity for OCC recovery, mostly from businesses. We got to convince the NGOs. The Recycling Partnership says they've spent they have catalyzed, they don't say they've spent because they get it from other organizations too, $500 million in the last 10 years to improve curbside recycling. And you saw that line chart that goes down, that it went from 20 million tons to 10 million tons, it's cut in half. Where's the volume? I'm not against curbside recycling. I'm a big proponent. I built single stream MRFs, okay? Big proponent, but we can't put everything in. Gene's coming to get me, to fire me, okay? We've ceded control of the recycling symbol, okay? It's been hijacked. We're at the point of no return. We can't get it back. Stop mucking up the bin. And I have a few minutes for questions before Gene takes his AK-47 up there and knocks me off the stage. Okay, thank you very much.
Real quick, first off, I gotta know who got the picture of the For selecting me, I'm giving you some extra drink tickets.
And Gene, here is one for you with your picture on it, because it's got SERC on one side and your picture, and I have one for Dana, and here, you can give them to them.
I'll give it to them.
Okay, you're welcome.
Leave it to Myles. All right, who had?
Excellent. Perfect presentation. I agree with most of your points. I want to
know the ones you don't agree with.
The what?
I said I want to know the ones you don't agree with, but go ahead.
I'll tell you later. No, I mean, I know that you focus on the numbers of the business in terms of size and the amount of OCC that comes from businesses, but I'm curious to know if you know, maybe I missed it, but if the contamination goes down in the residential, just slightly, I mean, in terms of numbers, it could be also huge, right? Would you agree?
Yeah.
Is there any way I can, or do you have those numbers that I can play with?
You know, it's very, I do. I've done some work. I chose not to show that stuff today. It is so localized by community and by county. And one of the things we have in this country is where we have seeded by CEDED, we have seeded by design, all waste and waste decisions are local, right? So we don't have a one system in the U.S. like some other countries do in Europe of, what do you call it, where, every town and every city would have the same list of materials or whatever. We're trying to get there in Washington or Oregon or somewhere. I think British Columbia did, but it's very difficult to get to those numbers because you have to do it on a city-by-city basis. But we can talk about it.
If you have to make an estimate from one of the counties that you said, let's say if you're able to do like a 5%, reduction of the contamination in those states, were you there to put a number on that?
We can talk about that after.
Okay, sounds good.
I want to give some other people a chance to ask questions if they have a question, or to criticize what you saw, or to question what you saw. Really.
Hello, Myles. Ray Hugel, Closed Loop Partners. So the big takeaway, the so what, focus more on ICI recycling, or at least shift the ratio of money going focused on resi to maybe industrial, commercial. But what does that look like in your view? Like where specifically should that money be allocated? What are the interventions on that side of the world to increase that recycling rate?
So first of all, thank you for asking the question and identifying yourself. Notice, I didn't say anything about closed-loop partners. I'm a big,
Explicitly.
explicitly, big fan of closed-loop partners. I think they're different than all the other NGOs because you guys are investing in MRFs and, you know, you're not just giving out money, but they're doing a lot of things. And you've bought, one of the things you've done is you've acquired not only single-stream MRF, but you're also getting with Midwest Fibers, you're getting into, you know, commercial, that they do more commercial industrial. But where would I focus that money? I'd focus that money on an old term that people told me isn't used anymore, strip shopping centers and stuff like that, but quick serve restaurants. There's about half in this country from the interviews that I've done with waste haulers that don't collect OCC, that it goes in the bin. I think instead of giving out 2 million roll carts, of which 57% of them never get used because only 43% of residents actually recycle, according to the Recycling Partnership. I'd give 8-yard cans. I'd put money into, if that $500 million was available that they gave already to cities, I'd give some of that, a good chunk of that, into cities that could work with the local haulers and give them an 8-yard bin for free and pay for the collection for, we'll say, 1 year or 2 years. So, you know, they're asking, I didn't cover this, and it was in there. Recycling Partnership testified in front of Congress last year that we need to spend $17 billion. You know that number, right? You've heard that number? We need to spend $17 billion on recycling infrastructure to fix to residential recycling, and then $17 billion every year after that. It's kind of, to me, it's not low-hanging fruit. It's hard when there's only 11 ounces of the number one item, cardboard. And there's glass and there's plastics, and you guys are part of the polypropylene alliance, and I applaud you for that. But I think somebody needs to get together, and it's not going to happen, and say, what are the priorities for the whole industry? How can we, these MRFs in this country are seeing declining volumes of their material. I hear it all the time. Generation is down, generation is down, generation is down. I think we need to have a little bit of a hiatus on not eliminate, but a little bit of a hiatus and shift some funds over to doing a better job. And I see, one of my pet peeves, for those of you who follow me on LinkedIn, one of my pet peeves is Starbucks, okay? And Europe, the Next Gen Cup Alliance, okay? I'm very familiar with all the stuff you do. I've known Ron for 15 years, okay? Great guy, I love Ron. I've gone into now 51 or 52, I have a list of Starbucks stores, and I want somebody to do this. I'd like all of you to do this. Go into a Starbucks store, walk up to the counter, and order your drink. Walk 4 feet to the left or 4 feet to the right where the barista is, steaming the milk and pulling the shots. And I want you to do this. Say, excuse me, how many of those gallon jugs of milk do you use a day, the HDP bottles? You're going to get the same answer every time. I guarantee you. Call me if you don't get this answer. I give you my phone number. It's on the last slide. How many bottles? Ooh, a lot. Well, guess. I don't know. Hey, Joe, how many of these bottles do we think we use a day? I'm telling you, this has happened probably 40 of the 52 times exactly like this. How many of these bottles do you use? 30 to 40. Okay, next question. What do you do with them? Oh, we throw them in the trash. So they're advocating polypropylene cup recycling, and they use about my calculation, about the average number I've gotten is around 35 to 40. They use, you multiply that times the 17,000 stores they have, they use about 200, that's per day, they use about 250 million HDPE gallon jugs a year. And I found 2 stores that recycle them. Now in New York City, do you live in New York?
Outside,
Okay.
Connecticut.
In New York City, they have mandatory commercial recycling. Very unusual. That's one of the other things I think we should do, that there should be mandatory commercial recycling. But, you know, so one of the issues I have is brands who are promoting that they want their consumer packaging to be recycled. It's very hard to recycle, and they're not doing their back-of-store recycling. They're landfilling their cardboard and their HDP bottles. And there's nobody here, Jordan or Jason aren't here from the Carton Coalition, whatever that's called. What's it called? The Carton Count. They're not here, right? But, you know, they do a nice job, but most of those containers are, you know, show up in food service and not necessarily at households. They show up in households too, a lot of them. But we're kind of out of time. Gene's giving me the look. We're right on 10 o'clock. Gene, I have one more minute. We could do one more question if you want.
One more.
No more. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Myles. We are now going to break in the exhibit hall. Got refreshments over there. So back here in half an hour, we're going to run a session on AI, which I think you're going to find very interesting.